Well, hi, everyone, and welcome to Minnesota Camper. I'm John Hanson. We're fired up to kick off a brand new 4-session Q&A series, all happening today. It's covering parts, service, sales, and we're starting with really one of the most important topics in the RV world. It's financing. And joining us this hour is Hilltop Camper RV's business manager out of our Fridley store, Dustin Taylor. You can drop your questions in the chat. We'll hit as many as we can. And we've also got a great lineup of questions that have come in ahead of time. We have parts, service, and sales coming up a little bit later today at 11 o'clock, noon, and 1 o'clock, respectively. But first, we welcome in to talk about finance, Dustin Taylor to the show. Hi, Dustin. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. How you doing, John?
Good. Thanks a lot for doing this. You look very shiny.
Well, it's the perfect time of the day where the sun is perfectly coming through the window. So I tried to adjust it as good as possible so I don't look like Casper the Ghost in here.
You look great. I don't know. You've done a good job covering up that sun, although I don't know why you would want to because it's a beautiful sunny day out today. But it makes me want to go camping. You ready to talk about some financing? Exciting stuff.
Oh, yeah. Let's go.
All right, let's do it. Let's take your questions again. If you have questions, go ahead and put those into the chat. But first, we got some questions that came in ahead of time, so let's go ahead and hit those. First question. What are the interest rates now, and where do you see them going? And I know you're going to put a caveat on this because there's an asterisk anytime you talk about interest rates, right?
Well, yeah, it's kind of a touchy situation, but in a good way. What we like to do on this end of the company and stuff is just not to guess for customers and not to put out a misleading rate for customers. So the national average is 8.99. Do we have better than that? Yes. What we like to do is if a customer is close and to get them an exact rate is to turn around and get a credit application, get that submitted, and have an exact answer for that customer. The other thing is the state of Minnesota doesn't want us turning around and guessing on a rate or giving our lowest rate, and then all of a sudden a customer doesn't qualify for it, and then it kind of looks like a bait and switch. So we would rather do things the right way up front and get a credit application and get that part submitted and have an exact answer for you. And also where a rate's going to go. I wish I had a magic ball so I could turn around and answer that question, but I really can't see them getting higher. And with the last Fed's rate cuts, they came down a little bit. This market is really good with rates and compared to what's out there. So I think a lot of positivity is going to go forward from here out as far as rates go.
Very good. Thank you very much for answering that one. Along the same lines, is there a tax break for interest on an RV loan?
Yes. I am not a tax person, so I'm not allowed to answer it to the exact. But if you do talk to your tax consultant who does your taxes and stuff, if you don't already have write-offs, you're allowed a second write-off with this because you do have a kitchen and you do have a bathroom.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much for that. Let's see here. Let's go to the next one. Again, if you have questions, feel free to put them in the comments. Here's one we get all the time, right? So we offer a $2,000 discount on for financing a travel trailer, $3,000 for a fifth wheel. And where are we at with motorhomes?
I'd have to look at that. That depends on the dollar amount. So
Okay. So the question is, why does Hilltop Camper and RV have a finance discount? Cash isn't king.
well, we get a kickback from the bank, and what we do is we do apply that for the customer if they do finance with us towards the purchase price. So there are benefits for financing. A lot of stocks are doing really good right now, so a lot of people are wanting to finance that actually could pay cash. So I do have a lot of people coming in that normally can pay cash and want to pay cash, and they are very interested in financing. And then plus seeing that the finance discount is out there, it just creates another avenue for a customer to save money.
Very good. Let's see here. Let's do this. Let's go to our next one, but that is kind of, I think, maybe combining the last two questions a little bit. It says, how do I find out well, whoever wrote this did a terrible job and didn't proofread, but it says, how do I find out what camper I can get without you running my credit?
Well, we can, I mean, with the business managers we do have here at Hilltop, we can try and basically do what's called, a phone interview and give you kind of an idea. But unless we turn around and have that credit application and we can look at everything exactly, it's kind of like I say, it's walking into a doctor's or calling a doctor and coughing. That doctor can't tell you what your diagnosis is until you come in and go through it. They can give you an idea, but it's hard for them to be like, hey, this is what you have. So without seeing the credit application, it does make it a little bit harder. But with the seniority and the people we do have working with Hilltop, we can probably come pretty close. But filling out the credit application is going to be key.
I'm going to throw you one here myself. And maybe this is going to put you on the spot a little bit. But as a guy who sits there in the finance office every day, talks to people who are buying RVs, what's the one thing you wish they all knew when they walked into your room?
God, that is actually a good question.
That's what I'm here for.
One thing I wish that customers knew is you're in complete control when it comes, especially if you're financing. There are so many regulations out there that put it to where the customer is in control. And what I mean by that is pretty much all of our banks, but I think one or two, no prepayment penalties. So if you want to pay the loan off right away, you can. And also too, the one thing that I would wish the customers knew, especially when you come into Hilltop, is we all do care a lot. So when we show you product or we go over items with the customer, it's stuff that benefits the customer and puts them in a good spot.
Well, I'd second that too, and to blow smoke a little bit at you. I mean, I've seen customers that did not qualify for campers, and you have. That's a tough time. That's a tough message to give somebody, especially when they were really looking forward to buying that camper. They might not have known that, and I've seen you personally lend out a hand to offer some encouragement or help, or just to be an ear for them. And I commend you a lot on that. We do care, and it starts at the top with you.
I appreciate that. And I've been in this business for, over 20 years. And I would say, that's the one thing that mostly I do like about my job is to take a tough situation and put a customer in a good situation. I personally been there myself. I know what it's like. So the human aspect of it is huge here at Hilltop because, not only do I, but the whole team does care.
Next question. By the way, I we did have another question that I was going to bring to you later. You touched on it a little bit here with the early payoff. So can you talk a little bit more about the early payoff and how that works, and just kind of from from your perspective, what the early payoff means, what the customer's perspective, and that relationship with the customer when it comes to an early payoff.
Well, early payoff is just like it sounds, like, for instance, I have a customer who's turning around and wanting to finance with us, and they're a person that could pay cash. But their stocks are doing really good and their portfolio is doing really well. So their financial advisor told them, there's a good rate out there, finance it and make sure that there's no prepayment penalty. So the no prepayment penalty is just like it sounds. Let's say you do have investments going and for some reason the investments are going a little wrong, or you want to pull your money out and take care of some bills and debt out there. Basically, you call up the bank, get your payoff, and boom, send in a check, and it's paid off at that day one. So it always puts the customer in control, and that's what I like a lot about with no payoffs with the banks. There are banks out there that do have payoff penalties, and what they are, I'm not sure of because we do not use those banks. We do have one bank that does have a prepayment penalty. I believe it's like $200 if you pay it off early. So, but we're always upfront with the customer if a bank does have a prepayment penalty. But like I said, majority of our banks do not.
I also encourage you, if you're watching us on YouTube, to like and subscribe because we do offer a lot of educational stuff. We offer fun and we walk you around RVs and things like that. One thing I really like is the demonstrations that we do. I don't see anybody else out there doing them. So you'll get a full demonstration on some campers. Even if it's not the particular camper that you have, you might find it very useful. So those can go up to like 45 minutes long. We won't just show you that it has a heater. We'll show you how to operate the heater. So like and subscribe on our YouTube page. If you're watching on Facebook, we have a YouTube page too. Check it out. Here's another question for you, Dustin. And again, you can submit your questions if you've got them. What are the benefits of financing with the dealership over my bank?
That's actually a really good question. Number one is the volume that we're doing. The volume I'm doing with the banks is, pretty good. And we get rewarded from the banks for the volume that we do. So even if you have a bank that you've banked with for the last 30 years or however long, and you have all your accounts with them, you're not probably doing as much money with them as we are in 1 month. So that's what gives us a little bit more buying power with the interest rates. For instance, I've had customers call a bank that we use that they use too, and they will refer them right back to the dealership going, we can't touch the rate that they're at because of the incentives and the volume that they're doing. So, and then the other thing is the ease. When you work with me and you work with Hilltop, I'm going to turn around, get the approval, get the loan docs set up, get your titling, get everything taken care of. So it's a one-stop shop. So you're not having to go to the bank, pull out money, get a check, go to this spot, take time off work. So not only are you getting a better interest rate normally 9 times out of 10 with us, you're also the ease of convenience of getting everything taken care of.
Very good. Another question for you. Here's one, pretty blunt. Aren't extended service agreements just a ripoff?
Well, it depends on, what companies are out there that, are being used with other dealers. Not trying to say anything bad, but there are a lot of companies out there that are hard to deal with. And I hear it when customers trade in a camper and they've dealt with a different dealership and they come in here and they're like, hey, I've had nothing but bad experiences. My fridge broke. They didn't cover my fridge and this wasn't taken care of. With the companies we use, it's first of all, it's the only one that's actually endorsed by the RV Association. So the same people that tell you to go out and go RVing endorse this product. Number two, it covers all the mechanical parts. So for instance, I appreciate someone saying, well, hey, I heard it's a ripoff. This isn't, going to be covered and stuff. I barely have my phone ring where a customer is going, hey, my fridge broke and my fridge was not covered. 9 times out of 10, when I do have a customer that does call, it's something that the dealership they were at, not one of our hilltops, meaning they were on the road, maybe in Arizona or Florida, and something went wrong, and that place just didn't submit the claim correctly, or there was just something that was done that was able to be cleared up once the customer called us. So not only is the extended service contract company we use absolutely fantastic, and again, endorsed by the RV Association, number two, you get us. So if you are on the road and something does happen, you call us up and I'm going to turn around and make that second stab for you. And 9 times out of 10, when I make that second approach, it's taken care of. The only things that aren't covered are going to be your cosmetic stuff. So like, like a shower head, or a door latch, but all your major appliances, if they're not caused to break by something else, meaning like a rodent breaking in and chewing through wire or a kid hanging off of something, those are going to be covered 9 out of 10 times. And when a fridge now costs $3,500 plus to get fixed, that extended service contract is going to save you a lot of money if something goes wrong.
Especially for but by the way, I should add too, and maybe this is a better question for Chris, who's going to join us from our service department at noon, but I believe there's some extended service agreements we don't even take in our service shop because they've just had a history of crap, for lack of a better term.
Basically what happens is I'm not going to put names out there, but yes, there are some companies out there that we won't even touch. And the number one reason why is we'll call them up and they'll turn around and say, well, we know the fridge costs $3,500 to fix and replace. We're going to give you $2,000.
Yeah.
It's a constant battle back and forth. So what we do in those situations is we just give the bill to the customer and we'll turn around and take care of it, but the customer has to pay us, and then they have to turn around and deal with the claim with the extended service contract company.
I don't want to speak for you, but and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but especially for new RV buyers who've never had an RV before, extended service agreements seem to me at least as never a bad idea. I get it. They cost money. It's something to consider, but never a bad idea, even if you get a new camper, and sometimes especially if you get a new camper.
You mentioned you're going to have Chris on later, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Chris, our main mechanic, he's like top 3, I think, in the whole United States.
Absolutely.
He's the Einstein of Einsteins. Every camper he's bought from us, and he has a camper, ask him if he has the extended service contract. And then also on top of that, ask him when he turns around and brings customers in, friends, what's the number one thing he almost tells them to get if they buy a camper? Campers are not bad. You're not buying junk, but you are buying a house that's going down the road at a 4.5 earthquake. And then in the wintertime, it's being frozen and then it's being de-thawed. If you had a cabin up north and you just shut it down for the winter and then went up in the summer to open everything back up, would you be surprised if your refrigerator didn't work or if your freezer didn't work? Now let's turn around and take that cabin and put it on a semi and send it down the road for 200, 300 miles. The service contract, I don't want to say it's a no-brainer, but it's definitely going to be something that's going to take very good care of you if something goes wrong with the camper.
Well said. Final question. What do you think about the Timberwolves this year?
Oh, yeah, baby. You know what's going to happen there. We're going to have Ant just attacking everybody. So I absolutely love where the Timberwolves are going, but it's not me as much as what do you think the Timberwolves are going to do?
I don't think they're that good. That's why they haven't been
Really?
a 500
So
team.
that means they're going to win.
Yeah,
so
probably.
If you are
yes.
not on it, you just stay at that level because I have not seen as much energy, but we almost did. What was it the other day? They almost lost to a team that only has won one game and they were up by 20
Well, they
points.
They lost them at home last year. I think when they'd come in with like 14 straight losses and they lost them at home last year.
All right. Well, they won this time. And also, too, I know you're a stats guy. I think the Timberwolves right now are 9-0 against any team without a winning record.
Yeah, well, like 10-0, 10-0, 10 and 0
Yeah,
and 5
10 and
against
0.
teams, and
So,
0 and 5 against
and we
teams who
all
wouldn't
know
lose
what
it.
the Timberwolves normally do when
Yeah,
they
we
play
do.
a team that isn't good.
We
So,
do. We do.
hey, there we go.
For those just tuning in, we are wrapping it up. And if you didn't tune in for Timberwolves Talk, then you can go ahead and when we archive this on our Facebook page and our YouTube page, you can check the whole thing out. 20 great minutes with Dustin Taylor, our business manager at our Fridley office. Thanks a lot, Dustin. That was awesome, dude.
Hey, appreciate it. Have a great day, John.
You too. Thanks for watching Minnesota Camper. Coming up at 11 o'clock Central Time, we are going to be talking with Jake Young, another Einstein in our building. He has worked in every department in our building, and he's currently in our parts department. So we're going to specialize on that, but really we can go anywhere with Jake. And that's what we are going to do coming up at 11 o'clock on these same YouTube and Facebook channels. Thanks for joining.